let us now move on to class. One more thing. Someone was asking last class whether you flame will burn outside or not. I think you asked Balaji.
Yes, sir. Like for premix flame, that cone shape will be there or not, that dark zone.
Yeah. So what you asked is that, see, this is the flame surface. Okay. So fuel will not leak out. What do you mean is that there will not be any hole. Okay. What you asked is, I say that, let us say there is a hole where there is no flame surface and the fuel leaks from there. So that is not possible in an, especially in an annular case. Okay. So at most what can happen is, so suppose I don't have sufficient amount of air. Okay. Or the length is not good enough. Premixing is not done properly. Okay. Then we could have inner cone and one outer cone. Okay. So since we have not studied about diffusion flame, let us not go into the detail of this, what happens. But basically the idea is, for Bunsen burner, you can have this sort of flame that you have fuel rich premixed inner flame surrounded by a diffusion flame. So this will be fuel rich inner, and outside there will be diffusion flame. But please note that no fuel will leak through this. Okay. Fuel, so for example, we are burning methane. So methane molecule will not go across this flame front, but burned products. So for example, carbon monoxide, that can go past this. So if you talk about complete combustion, so suppose if I have only one surface, so this will be converted to CO2. Okay, CO means that the combustion is not complete. So if we have CO or hydrogen products, then the combustion is not complete. Some species are intermediate species are left, which will be burned here. Okay, so that is one possibility, but it is a little bit complex case. We will not talk about this in this chapter. We will assume that it is a perfectly premixed flame. Okay, when we talk about diffusion, then we can discuss this. And one example I can show you. So this is one image I took during my PhD. So it is actually a research topic. So we'll not go into much detail about it, but you can see like it will have a flat flame here, and these are some peaks of diffusion flame. Okay, so this is just for you to know, but we'll not go into more detail on this. Fine. So again, yes, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, well, so again I will repeat. So what I am trying to tell you is that this flame front will not have any hole which will leak the fuel. Fuel will burn. The reaction may or may not be complete, but some reaction will be there. No fuel will go past this without having any reaction. Okay. So that is just I wanted to highlight here. Now let us go back to what we are, and this is what we are talking. So for this chapter, we'll assume that the flame is pre-mixed, and this is sort of profile we get: preheat zone and luminous zone, reactant zone. Okay, so this video we have already seen. Now let us talk about what happened in that video. So again, last time there was some confusion, so I've made the slides again. So we have fuel and air unburned mixture. We initiate combustion from one side, we ignite. So let us say we have a very flat flame. This is an assumption, okay? And the flame goes by uniform velocity u. So if you start from one end, it will move and it will come to the end of the tube with velocity u. So this is exactly what we saw in the video. In actual case, it will be a little curved, it will have bouncy effect and all that. But we will assume that it is a straight flat flame which is going with a uniform velocity. Now, let us talk about something else. Let us talk about a lake. Okay, so let us say that you went to a lake and you have a boat, or we can say that instead of boat you have a steamer. Steamer goes with, let me get a point. Okay, now this steamer goes with a uniform velocity v1, right? Now if there is a stationary observer who is standing here on the shore, or which is not moving with boat or water, what is the velocity of boat he will observe? So anyone?
V1.
v1. So if any stationary observer is there, he will observe v1 velocity. Now let us say instead of lake, I have a river. Okay, and again the same boat is there, which is always going by V1. Okay, a steamer is there with fixed velocity V1. Now, again, the problem is that river is also moving, right? So let us say river is coming with velocity V2. So you all have studied vector addition. So what if I have an observer here who is standing on the banks? How much velocity he will record? So let us say he is measuring the speed of the boat. So what will be the measurement he has?
V1 minus V2.
Correct. So he will observe V1 minus V2. Now let us say that V1 is equal to V2. What will happen? Will I say that
Similar.
it's stationary?
Yes, sir.
Right? Everyone is okay with this? If the velocity of stream is equal to the boat and in opposite direction, so when someone is standing at the bank, he will say that this is stationary, this is not moving at all. Similarly, coming to the flame. So this red flame, this is trying to move into the unburned fuel. Let me get a pen. So this flame will try to move this side with velocity SL. SL is the laminar flame speed. Okay. Now if I supply fuel with the same velocity, can I hold this stationary? For an observer standing outside of this tube, this will appear stationary, right?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Everyone is, yes,
sir, in this, sir, we have to supply the fuel at
yes,
a certain velocity that is corresponding to the flame velocity, flame point velocity.
correct. That is what
But
SL is.
yes, sir. But in most, what to say, most combustion devices like what to say, our LPG stoves and all,
Yes.
I mean, we don't push the what to say, the fuel and the fuel velocity. I would think that it is a function of pressure of the fuel left inside the gas cylinder. So
Yes.
would it what to say at some point when the pressure drops down too low, would it just burn it inside? I mean, how, why does that not happen? Like,
Okay,
how
we
do we
will we
control
will
that?
we'll go to that. Just see, uh, you have learned to speak English, right? When you were school, you went to when you were kid, you went to school, you learned to speak English. So how do you learn? First, you learn ABCD, then you learn how to write words, then you write essay, right? So
Yes,
first,
sir.
you have to do ABCD, then you write an essay. So what you are asking is essay. What I'm talking is ABCD. Okay, so that is a good question, but just bear for some more time. First,
Yes, sir.
basic concepts, then we'll go step by step. And we will talk about one candle frame also. Okay, so if you have any doubt, then you tell about this particular scenario that I have a straight tube. I assume that the flame is perfectly flat and it moves with a uniform velocity. I want to hold this stationary. So I supply fuel, pre-mixed fuel mixture at the same velocity, which is my flame velocity. And by doing this, I hold this flame perfectly stationary. The flame will not move. Okay, so let us look at this, what happens in this reaction zone. So there is something called preheat zone, which is this side. And in this side, there is a reaction zone. So all of this will happen within, let's say, a millimeter or so. Typical flame thickness for hydrocarbons is like 0.5 mm or 1 mm. Okay, so I'm just, this is just exaggerating. I am zooming in to show you what basically happens. So we have preheat zone and reaction zone. So what happens? Let us talk about temperature. Here, what temperature will be there? It will be room temperature. Let us say 300 Kelvin. So this is the room temperature. Let me get a point. So this plot shows room temperature. So you start with a low temperature, and suddenly goes up, and you have very high temperature, roughly equal to adiabatic flame temperature. Is it fine? Temperature jumps across the flame front. This will be very cold. This will be very hot. Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So what else? Temperature is changing. Now reactants. What about reactants? So for example, I have here, let us say methane plus oxygen or air. So reactants are, this is showing you mole fraction of reactants. So reactants are high on this side. Okay. Suddenly when you approach the flame front, reaction will start to decrease. And after a certain point, after a certain axial distance, there is no reactant left. Only products will be there. Fine. So product will also rise like this, like temperature. Let me draw that. We will talk in detail. So there you will see, sir, some products are there, something like this. Okay. Similarly, we have heat release. Heat release happens typically in the reaction zone where you say this red. So heat releases peak here and it also diffuses out in both the sides. So this is how, these are the basic characteristics of a premixed flame. What happens across the flame? So everyone is okay with this?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir,
Yes.
why reactants are decreasing before the reaction zone started?
So there's some diffusion. Okay, some reaction will happening there also. There are multiple steps, right?
Yes, sir.
So it will not happen, first it will not happen in a just one step like this. Second is that this is a very thin, you imagine from here to here is less than 1 mm. So I'm just
Yes.
out. Okay, if you zoom in real close, then this is how it will look like.
No.
And
Yes, sir.
so let us move. So this is when where my fuel supply velocity is equal to flame velocity. Okay, and this flame velocity or flame speed is constant for a particular fuel. So here you see a table, right? For methane, laminar flame speed is 40 meters per second. For let us say propane, it is 44 meters per second. So different fuels have different laminar flame speeds. Okay, and this is a characteristics for a fuel. It is constant and fixed for a fuel. Okay, so we can define laminar flame speed as the velocity at which unburned gases move through the combustion wave in a direction normal to wave surface. So that is what we saw in the last slide. And this is fixed for a fuel. Okay, so it will change because of equivalence ratio or due to preheating, but for a particular set of conditions. So for standard conditions, this is what it looks like. Fine. And okay, now in this slide, we talked that fuel supply velocity is equal to SL, laminar flame speed. That is what we discussed. Then only we'll have a stationary flame. Now let us say that fuel velocity is less than or greater than flame speed. Then what will happen? So let us go back to the boat example. Okay, V1 is boat and V2 is river. So if V1 is equal to V2, boat appears stationary, right? Now if V2 is more than V1, so what will happen? The river will take the boat right. The boat will move towards right. And if V2 is less than V1, so boat will move left. Everyone is okay with this? This simple vector addition, right? So same analogy. Yes. Any question?
If it diffuses off the pipe, will the flame like
No, no,
transfer?
forget about the flame.
Okay, sir.
You talk about the boat.
Yes, sir. Fine.
Boat is
Fine, sir.
fine.
I mean,
Now we'll
yes,
go to the flame. Next slide we'll go to the flame. Okay. So this is your flame. We have fuel plus air mixture one side and bond gas one side. Now if the supply velocity is U, if U is equal to SL, what we have discussed so far, so the flame appears stationary, okay, in laboratory frame of reference or stationary frame of reference, flame is at a fixed location. Now if U is more than SL, so flame will move towards the right. Okay, let me draw it. So if U is more than SL, then it will drag the flame this side. Similar to what happens with the boat. It will push it towards the left. Right? And let us say another case. Let us say that U is less than SL. Then what will happen? It will move towards left. Sorry, this will be less than. Okay, if U is less than SL, then flame will move left. So the first case we say that this is stationary flame. If flame moves right, we say that it is blow off or blow out. And if flame propagates upstream, it will may move towards the fuel source. It is called flashback. Similar analogy what we did with the boat. So any question on this? Any doubt on this?
Sir, will the fuel blow out the flame front if fuel velocity is more than flame velocity, like to higher
Yes.
extent? Like put off the flame.
Yes, I will show you pictures. Don't worry. Blowout. We have some discussion in this slide. What do you mean by blowout and what do you mean by flashback? Is everyone clear with that? Simple.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Okay. Now let us see how it looks like. So flashback and blow off. So when the fuel velocity is very high, it will push out, and if the flame velocity is higher than U, it will go left. So this is called blow off. Higher velocity of fuel blows the flame out, or flame moves upstream. This is flashback. Fine. So let us look at the definition. So flashback occurs when flame enters through the burner tube port without quenching. Okay, it goes against the flow. It goes upstream from where my fuel supply is coming. Okay, and lift off or blowout is a condition where flame is not attached to the burner or it goes up. Okay, is it clear to everyone? This is just a definition. What is flashback and what is blowout or lift off? Now let us look.
So in the blowout, it will just keep on lifting off, and then it will.
Yes. Okay, just look at the next slide. So this is what is called lifted flame. Okay, so this is the normal flame, but if your velocity is little bit higher, this is your burner. The flame is stabilized at some point, some different height. It is not a tube, it is at some height. This is a lifted flame. Now if you increase the velocity further, it will extinguish.
So after we perform the blowout, we bring down the velocity of the fuel to the previous U so that it stabilizes, or with that higher speed itself, it stabilizes at some point.
So within some range, okay. So let us say we have stationary flame at SL. Okay, so SL plus if you have a small change, then it could be stabilized like this. If you have a large velocity, then it will extinguish, it will go out. Like
Yes, sir.
blow out a candle. If you blow air to the candle, it extinguishes. So that will happen. Okay, and I will show you example. So see, this is a fighter flame, whatever. So the flame comes out. You see here. You all are able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So the flame comes out, inside there is no flame. So you have to put ignition again. So that is the extreme case, which is known as blow off. So if your velocity is very high, then your flame is not there in your engine, and then you have to ignite again. That's all. You have to lower your velocity and ignite again. Now you are clear? So you can have a lifted flame like this if your delta U is small. If you have very high delta U, then flame is gone. That's all. Simple, see, this is simple vector addition. If U is very high, if your velocity is very high, flame will go out. If it is little bit low, then you can have some stabilization here, otherwise it is gone. That's all. That is what is known as blow off. Is everyone clear with this?
Sir,
Yes.
sir,
Yes.
sir, the flame velocity and the fuel velocity, these both are constant. That is UT and SL.
Okay.
Is it that? Then if we change a slight change in fuel velocity, that is like delta U also, then it always gives the difference positive, UL minus SL.
Yes.
So it will after some time the distance between the fuel and the position point is always increasing because the velocity is positive, time is positive.
Yes. 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 You're right. But there are some other stabilization effects. So, for example, fuel is when you have a burner. Okay. Let me go back to. Okay. So you have a Bunsen burner like this. So fuel also loses heat here. Okay. So it stabilizes at these points. So if you have a very small delta U, it could somehow stabilize. We'll talk about this. Just wait for 5 more minutes. We'll talk about this flame, and then I think you will be clear.
Okay,
Fine.
sir. Okay, sir.
So this is what we talked about, laminar flame speed. And so what you have seen is what you have said is hold true for a flat flame. Okay. Now let us talk about. This is one of the effects of blowout, flashback. So what happens is that fuel is burning somewhere where we don't want, so it could get damaged. You see, this is a plate. This is a gas turbine burner. So this is a metal plate. Okay. You see, this is completely broken here because of flashback. There are a lot of other effects involved, but flashback is also a big serious concern here. Fine. Let us now talk about your, again, I will take you an example of this Bunsen burner. So this image we have seen earlier. Now, can we also, let us assume that this is a small tube. So can we have that sort of this plot? So similar type of plot we can also draw here. Is it fine? So this side we have reactants. This side we have products. So that is what is shown here. So if you go across this line, temperature will increase like this, reactant will decrease like this, and heat releases in this region. So what we have talked about a flat flame, the same discussion holds true for other types of flame. So whatever your flame front is, the change will be same. So if, for example, if you take some region here, okay, so I can say that this is a tube and you have a step change here like this. So everyone is okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now let us add some things to this graph. So what is the visible region that you see? Okay. So this is another plot from another book, but basically same type of things. Reactants is decreasing, temperature is increasing, and this is the visible region. Okay. So what you see here, bright light, this is that region. Okay. So there are different types of preheat zone, reaction zone, and recombination. So we'll talk about this later. Let us focus on preheat and reaction zone. So this inside, whatever you see, the dark region with green lights, this is preheat zone. Okay. This very thin region here is reaction zone, and there only we see visible light. Fine. And after that, there's some recombination, some kinetics effects are there that we'll discuss later. And reaction intermediates are formed here. So all the reaction is taking place in this thin reaction zone. So temperature increases, reactant decreases, product will increase here, product species will increase here, and we'll see some reactant intermediate also. So later we'll look at the detailed structure of a methane flame. There it will be more clear to you. Fine. Is this everyone is okay with this slide?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Let us go forward, move forward. So this is your Bunsen film. So someone was asking about that blowout. If you increase velocity and all that. Who was he?
So I also asked, and Durgesh also asked at the end with velocity thing.
Okay, good. So let us wait for. Look at these two slides. Then your doubt will be a little bit clear. Okay, so let us see how you see a V type of shape here, right? Conical structure. This happens in a candle and Bunsen burner, right? This is the premixed zone. Inside, what you see is the premixed zone, preheat zone, black color, and red color is for what has reacted. Fine. So let us talk about velocity here. We talked about velocity in a tube. Now let us see what happens in a Bunsen burner. Okay, so let me just draw this blue zone that we have drawn here. Okay, now let us take any streamline. Let us say some fuel is coming from here with velocity u. So let us take this streamline. Okay, so let us say it has a velocity u. Fine. Now you all have cleared IIT JEE, right? So there we talked about different in mechanics. You talked about different velocity components. So let us say I want to resolve along this surface. So this is my flame front. This blue color is flame front. Now if I want to talk about two directions, what is perpendicular to it and what is parallel to it, how I can break some, let us say this angle is theta. Okay. So you remember something, sin theta, cos theta. What is that?
U cos theta would be along the flame front, and U sin theta would be perpendicular to the flame front.
Okay, so if I break this vector into parts, I can say that this one is u sin theta,
Yes, sir.
right? Now we talk about flame front. We are interested in perpendicular propagation of flame front. Okay, so when it goes inside, that is what we call SL. So this flame front will always come to go inside. It will try to go like this. What is stopping here? So let me draw this. So flame front wants to come this side. It wants to move normal to its surface. What is stopping here? What is keeping it stationary is this velocity u sin theta. So because the flame front is stationary, can I say SL is equal to u sin theta? Is it right to say so? You people are here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this looks good. I am seeing that the perpendicular component what we have from u is equal to SL. The flame speed is balanced by the component u. Because of that, the flame is held stationary here. It is not moving inside or outside. That is the idea. Right? Now, is theta constant? For a given fuel, whether theta will be constant or it can change. Please, anyone, anything what you think of, let me know.
Sir, it can change.
Sir, with the speed of fuel with which it is coming, it will change.
Okay. Yes. So for a fuel, laminar flame speed is constant. SL is constant. Theta is not constant. Okay. So what if I change U? Okay, this is what I was talking about, small range. It is not that you do 10 times of U. If the delta U is small, such that I maintain a stable flame, it does not blows out. Right? So what will happen to theta? If we change U, whether theta will change?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So how it will change? So theta will
Will
change
increase.
or adjust according to this equation. Okay. So if u increases, sine theta will decrease. Why? Because this is the relation we have to maintain. If I increase u, then this is constant. SL is constant. Sine theta has to go down. Right? Or if I decrease u, sine theta will also decrease. Such that their product is constant. SL is constant. Whatever change you do in u, that change will be compensated by sine theta. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that is what I meant by small change in u. If you do like 10 times of u, then there is no flame. Flame will go out. That's all. So if you have a Bunsen burner, if you have a conical shape like this, it could adjust to small changes in flow velocity u. So if you change theta, it can go like this, or it can go like this. Your theta will change. Right? So let us move on. So this up to this everything is clear, or you anyone has any doubt?
So that u cos theta component will be balanced by that curved portion of this cone, sir. I mean the top.
Okay, see, we are basically talking about the balance of this. So
Yes,
we'll
sir.
cos theta, sorry, sin theta. Cos theta is in this direction, so it will go to here and it will burn somehow. Okay,
Yes,
it's
sir.
going along the flame. We are interested in perpendicular to the flame, this
Yes,
direction.
sir.
Fine. Should we move ahead? Or
Yes, sir.
questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Now let us talk about some conservation. So this is the tube we discussed about. We have unburned gases and burned gases. The conservation question we talked about, they all will hold good here. Okay. So for example, you cannot say, so this is a flame. Okay, you cannot say that continuity is not valid. Continuity will always be valid. So your density will change, velocity will change accordingly. But in general, across the flame, when you move from here to here, continuity, momentum, energy, everything is conserved. Okay, don't think that it is a flame, so you cannot conserve momentum or continuity. Even energy will be conserved, right? And these are the equation for state. You can write rho RT for this state 1 or state 2. So these are the general like properties of across a flame. Now let us look at some analysis. How do we derive? See, for premixed flame, the most important parameter is SL, laminar flame velocity. Okay. Now, from starting from first principles, let us see how we can derive what is the equation for, or what is the relation for flame speed. Okay. So we'll talk about the theory of Maillard and Le-Chatelier. Okay, so they have some assumptions. They took some very simplifying assumptions, and based on that, they derived some theory. So what are the assumptions we look into? Again, they're talking about a straight tube. Okay, so assumption is this is flat. We have two separate zones of unburnt and burnt gases. Now this is how temperature profile looks like, right? We have seen the previous slides. Now for this theory of Maillard and Le-Chatelier, what they have assumed is that we can divide this in two zones, zone 1 and zone 2. So zone 2 is this is where they say that all the burning is taking place. This is my region of burning or reaction zone. And before that I have region of conduction. Okay, so what is happening is flame is burning in this region, but because of that heat, because of this such a high temperature, it is also conducting heat back. Okay, you have a very hot gas here and you have a cold gas here, so obviously some heat will go back. Okay, and they say that this is happening because of conduction. This hot gas is preheating the other gases such that it burns. So that is the basic structure of a flame which is assumed in Maillard and Le-Chatelier. Okay, now let us see why this theory is required or What are the assumptions? So basically they assume that propagation of heat through layers of gas. What I told you in the last slide. Okay, and they assume that this heat transfer or heat diffusion is the controlling mechanism of flame propagation. Okay, so there are different theories which assume different governing mechanisms, but this Malat and Lee-Chatelier assumes that heat transfer is the governing mechanism. Okay, and they say that there are two zones, what we have seen in the last slide. And this theory requires the concept of ignition temperature. Okay, we'll see later. But we'll take some assumption and we'll overcome that. Now, reaction mechanism in actual, if you talk about a real flame or what is the complex process happening across a flame, so heat is not the only thing. Okay, you have seen that some species will also be involved, some radicals will also be there. So there are also some lower, especially for this lower or smaller molecules, they will definitely diffuse back. Okay, but this is for complicated mechanisms that we will not talk about in this course. So in thermal theory, for this Malat and Lee-Chatelier, the higher the final temperature, let us just skip this. So this is because of its historical significance, and the analysis is very simple. Okay, let us go to the analysis. So again, we have two zones, what I have discussed, zone 1 and zone 2. And one major assumption is applied here. So what I assume here is that T0 is the room temperature or temperature of the incoming gases. TF is your final temperature. What is the burned gas temperature, right? And what the assumption is that from here to here, the gas is getting heated up, and Ti means ignition. So we are assuming that here the gases gets ignited somehow, and from here to here it is burning in zone 2. All the gases are burning in zone 2, which is the region of burning. Right? Everyone is okay with this theory of Malat and Lee-Chatelier? Please say yes or no. People are here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the general layout. Now what we can, one more assumption is there that in the starting of this reaction zone, region of burning, we have temperature Ti, and at the end of it we have Tf. Okay. So these people assume that temperature varies linearly. Okay, so we can have a slope like this. We say that this is delta T and delta X. Delta X is this lambda. Delta will say, so the temperature, let us say, is changing from here to here linearly, Ti to Tf. So delta of temperature, delta of X. This is the slope. That is the most basic assumption of this theory. Fine. Now, yes. Any question?
Sir, TF is not any different from TI over here in the graph.
Yeah, graph is not so clear. See, that will change. This is ignition temperature and this is final temperature. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry too much about the graph, but there are two different temperatures. That is the idea.
Okay, sir.
TF is the final temperature, or let us say adiabatic flame temperature. That is not strictly speaking true, but let us say the flame burn temperature, and this is the ignition temperature, where you ignite, where you start your reaction. Fine. So this is a slope. I assume that this is varying linearly, and the slope is this. Right. Now let us talk about heat balance. Okay. So I can say m dot Cp delta T. This is what heat is being conducted here. Okay, m dot is the flow rate of fuel. Cp is the gas specific gas constant. specific heat, and this is the delta T from here to here, from zone 1 to zone 2. We are heating fuel, right? We are supplying heat to that fuel. That heat is this mCp delta T. And here what we say is Tf minus Ti. What is the difference here? Delta T by thickness. This is the slope. Okay. This is thermal conductivity. Generally we write K, but here for this analysis, let us say this is delta and this is the area. So let us say this is the tube. This is the area of the tube. Okay. Is this fine? So we are saying how much heat is conducted from here to here. That heat is applied to the fuel that is burning. Q is equal to mCp delta T. Is everyone okay with this equation? Any doubt here? Please let me know. People are here or not there?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, TF will also depend on the heat released after the combustion, right? So this equation.
Yes, TF is coming from the heat release only, right? Heat release. See, ignition means I ignited here. I ignited at this point. Fuel starts burning here, and this is the final point. So the heat release is released here. So if you look at this plot, let me go back. Okay, see where heat is releasing in a very small zone, or yeah, see where the heat release is happening. See that?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Let us come back to Maillard and Lachat. Okay. So this is simply heat balance. This is the heat lost by the bond or reaction zone. This is the heat gained by unburned product. Fine. Now let us look at continuity. So we can say that m dot is rho UA. Okay. Now because U is SL, I am holding this stationary. So I can write rho SLA. Fine. Because SL is U. Now this is what we discussed in the last slide. Let us use this equation. Can I write it like this? So instead of m dot, I will write rho SL. Rho SL into Cp into delta T is equal to Tf minus Ti into, let us say, flame thickness. Okay, so again A is cancelled from both the sides. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So m dot is this much. M dot is rho SL A, and we have A here. So A gets cancelled. We have this equation. Now can I write like this? If you take SL and if you divide all these terms, lambda T delta T divided by Ti minus T naught, rho Cp and delta. Just rearrangement. Is this fine? From this equation, if I rearrange, I will get this. Everyone is okay with this or any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes,
Now,
Fine, sir.
this is the expression that we got from Maillard and Le-Chatelier. Okay. Now, for this is not known. Lambda is this is the flame thickness. And this is again we need to determine. So we need some improvement in this theory, but this is what is derived by Maillard and Le-Chatelier. This gives you one simple analysis, which is actually very too much simplified, but it gives you a broad idea what happens in a flame, premixed flame. Okay. So let us talk a little about delta. So this is what we have. M dot is rho VA. So divide by A, we get rho U, rho SL into. Now this rho SL can be given as omega dot into delta. So this omega is the rate of reaction. Okay. This omega dot is rate of reaction rate in terms of per gram or whatever per cubic centimeter per unit time. So if I write like this, I substitute this in this equation. What I'll get? Can I write it like this? So last slide we have obtained this relation, right? We are trying to figure out what to do with this delta, sorry. So if I use this expression and substitute that in that, can I write this delta in terms of reaction rate and rho SL? Okay, so you can try it, you'll get something like this. So what we see is that this flame speed is proportional to alpha omega dot rho by root. Okay, so this is a very important relation which links your flame speed with reaction rate. Okay, now how we will link it with delta? So we know that rho SL is equal to this part. Rho SL is equal to omega dot delta. So if you substitute it here, you can derive that delta is proportional to alpha by SL. Okay. So these are the two important relations we derive from Maillard and Le Chatelier's theory. Okay, so we have some relation for SL and we have some relation for flame thickness. So is this clear to everyone? I think we need to stop here because of time. So any doubt in this? Any doubt what we have discussed so far?
Sir, I actually missed a little bit part of the class today because of network issues. I'll watch it again, and if I have any doubts, can I ask you on the next class, sir?
Sure. So this anyway, next class we'll talk about it quickly. But this is just a derivation. Okay, mostly you have to focus on what results we got. Results what we got is, this is one major equation what we have, equation 1, equation 2 and equation 3. These are the main results from this theory. Otherwise, it is just a mathematical derivation.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, tomorrow again we'll talk about it and we'll try to wind it up.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So we'll stop here and if you have doubts, we'll meet again tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you,
Naveen
sir.
is here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. So others, yeah, we'll just stop.